Have you ever really, truly looked at the letters you use every single day? I mean, really thought about them? Well, it turns out they're hiding a secret. A 2,000-year-old secret, actually. It's like they have this split personality that goes all the way back to the Roman Empire.
So let's just get right to it. Here's the central mystery. Why on earth do we have two completely different looking sets of letters? I mean, why does a capital A look nothing like a lowercase a? The answer, it turns out, is this incredible 2,000-year-old story of power, speed, and technology.
You see, for most of history, our alphabet has led a double life. On one side, you've got the public face, majestic, permanent, something you'd carve into stone for everyone to see. And on the other, you've got the private hand, quick, efficient, scribbled down for just that moment. This contrast, this is the heart of our story.
To really get this split, we have to go back. Way back. We're talking ancient Rome. This is where it all began, where the two tracks of our alphabet started. And they were driven by two totally different needs, proclaiming eternal glory and, just managing the chaos of everyday life. This quote from Dr. Sarah Cohen just nails it. One script was for show, for posterity, for projecting power across a massive empire. The other? That was for the messy, urgent business of life. The grocery lists, the IOUs, the personal letters. It was the empire's private diary. And this table here breaks it down beautifully. What's so fascinating is how the tool itself shaped the form. Just think about it. If you're using a chisel on stone for the formal script, you're going to be slow, deliberate, making straight lines. But if you're using a stylus on a soft wax tablet for the informal stuff, you're all about speed, connection, and simplicity. The purpose and the tool literally created two different alphabets from one.
These formal letters, our capitals, they were pure architecture. Seriously, they were built from perfect squares and circles, and they were meant to embody Roman values like seriousness, gravitas, and authority. Even those little feet on the letters, the serifs, they're basically a ghost of the chisel's mark, designed to make the letters feel stable and graceful. This wasn't just writing, this was propaganda in stone.
Now, the cursive script, that was a whole different ballgame. It was all about speed. It was messy, it was inconsistent, and letters were all connected just to save a precious second. But, and this is the crucial part, hidden inside all these hurried scribbles were the very first versions of our lowercase letters. Yep, that's where we first see things that look kind of like our A, B, and D. Okay, so Rome falls, but this dual-track system, it doesn't disappear. Oh no. In fact, it gets even more interesting. Writing becomes the domain of monasteries and the new medieval kingdoms. And guess what? Each of them needed their own kind of script.
So the split just keeps on going. In the quiet of the monasteries, monks developed this beautiful rounded script called Uncial for copying the Bible. It was slow, contemplative, writing as an act of devotion. Meanwhile, out in the world, royal administrators were using a faster, more practical cursive for laws, letters, and all the king's business.
And this timeline, wow, it really shows you the slow, gradual evolution of our small letters. They didn't just pop into existence overnight. You can see how they grew organically, from those first hints back in the 3rd century to more developed forms by the 5th, and then finally, hundreds of years later, into a standardized set we'd recognize.
I absolutely love this quote. It sums up the whole medieval world of writing perfectly. The beautiful book scripts made by monks, they were meant to last forever, for God's eyes. The administrative scripts from the clerks? Nah, they just needed to get the job done by the end of the week.
Now, the big turning point, the game changer, came around 800 AD with the Emperor Charlemagne. He was getting tired of all these inconsistent, hard-to-read scripts across his empire. His solution was a massive reform that created something called Carolingian minuscule. It took the best of both worlds, formally combining capital letters for headings and the start of sentences with a super clear, legible set of small letters for the main text. Sound familiar? It should. That's the exact system we still use today.
But history, it never stands still. By the late Middle Ages, universities were booming, and the demand for books just exploded. Now, parchment was incredibly expensive, so scribes came up with a new trick. This dense, compressed Gothic script that let them cram 30 to 40% more text onto every single precious page. Once again, a new need, this time economic pressure, completely reshaped the letters.
All right, let's jump forward to the Renaissance and the invention of the printing press. This new technology, it was like an earthquake. It caused the two tracks, the formal and the informal, to fly apart more dramatically than ever before. So at first, printed type just tried to copy the best handwriting of the day. But pretty soon, type designers started to embrace the perfection of the machine, creating these letters with razor-sharp lines that no human hand could ever hope to replicate. And eventually, you get sans serif fonts, which basically threw out any memory of the human hand altogether, going for pure geometric form. And remember those little feet we talked about, the serifs? Well, here they are again. They're a direct link all the way back to our origin story. They are literally the ghost of a Roman mason's chisel, a feature that has survived for 2 millennia, through the quill pen, the printing press, and right onto the digital screen you're looking at right now. But what about the other track, the informal, handwritten one? Well, as print became more mechanical and cold, beautiful handwriting became more valued than ever. It became a form of personal expression, a true art form. Your handwriting said something about your character, your education. It was you on the page. And this comparison just says it all. On one side, you have the cold, mathematical, almost sterile perfection of machine-made type. And on the other, the warm, flowing, human expression of a trained hand. The two tracks of our alphabet had pretty much reached their point of maximum separation. And that brings us to today. Our tools have kept evolving, of course, and right now we are standing on the edge of what might be the biggest change in writing since it was invented. I mean, the journey has just been incredible. We went from the chisel to the quill, to the printing press, to the typewriter, and now the keyboard. Each new tool didn't just reshape how our letters looked, it reshaped how we think. But that evolution isn't over, not by a long shot. In fact, we might be approaching the end of the line for writing as we've known it for millennia. Which brings us to the final and most important question. Think about it. With voice-to-text, with AI generating entire essays, with brain-to-computer interfaces on the horizon, we really have to ask ourselves, what do we gain and what might we lose when that ancient, fundamental connection between our thoughts, our hands, and the page is finally broken?